ahoy. Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back, Twitch. We're ready to get started here in the second game. We just saw the Panthers absolutely pump the Newcastle Knights. We've got our multi locked and loaded for this one. Xavier Savage, Jason Saab, Kyo Weeks, and Tola Kola. Our selections. See how that goes. All right. YouTube, we're back up and running. Bronx 1.3. Should the Broncos bring back Milford after injuries to Mam and Reynolds? Oh, I think the Broncos have got some quality juniors coming through the ranks. I don't think they need to turn to Anthony Milford, do they? I can't imagine that they really need to go down that road. They've got some good juniors coming through. I think they'd probably be better off sticking with it. And Reynolds and Mam, I mean, they'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks, potentially. It depends on the severity of it. One of the two, you would think, would be back before then. You would hope. So I think they'll be okay. Mission number 1 now for the Broncos. I guess they turn their attention to simply making the 8. I think if they make the 8, they'll be just fine. Sneak into the 8, get Reynolds and Mam returning, and it'll be completely different, won't it? So that becomes mission number 1 for them. Dan, ahoy there, mate. Score prediction. Ooh. Well, I've gone either team by 1 to 12, so I'm expecting a tight one. Oh, maybe something like 22 points to 18. Maybe even more high scoring. Oh, to Sam Back. Yes. Sam Backo. Cheers. To Sammy Backo. Penrith could have had 50 here. Would have looked nicer. Yeah. They got close. Very close to cracking the 50. But they just couldn't get across the line in the end. Great performance, though, from the Penny Panthers. Why didn't they kick the 2? Exactly. Well, probably because, unlike us, they didn't really care at all about the 50, I guess. But that was my thought immediately when they got that penalty. Take the 2, I screamed. Because then if they get a try, obviously, it brings up the opportunity of the 50. But no harm done. They obviously didn't care. Oh, fantastic. The Viking clap is about to commence. The absolute goofiest thing in the whole of rugby league. Oh, except for maybe that dance the crowd does whenever the Broncos score tries. That's got to be up there as well. It's a tie, I think, between the Viking clap and that silly little Broncos crowd dance as the goofiest things in rugby league. But hopefully we get a good game in this one. All right, I've got the scoreboard set, finally. Oh, I hate it when the games start so close to one another because it becomes very difficult then for me to get everything set up. Do my best to race through and get it all sorted. Referee blows his whistle. We are off and running. Manly versus the Raiders. Raiders with first use of it. Savage takes the kickoff and gives it to Big Papa for the first hit up. 10 meters out from their own line. Big defense here from Manly to open up. What's the weather like? It's looking pretty good, but then we said that in the last game as well, didn't we? The weather was looking mighty fine until it opened up in the second half. Horsburgh, Big Red, brings it outside the 20. On play 4 here for the home side, the Raiders. Hudson Young takes carry 5. Who's going to do the kick? Fogarty gets the ball from well inside the 40, sends it down the middle of the field, and it's an awkward bounce. Bounces away from Tommy Turbo, and it sits up at the back for Garrick. And Ruben Garrick brings it back just outside the 20. Jamal Fogarty needs his kicking game back on point for the Raiders to win this one. One of the best general play kickers in the game, I am not ashamed to admit. So they need him back in form. Had a bit of a shocker last week. Dan has gone over 45 for the last leg of a fourfold, which means it'll be golden point 5-4. Tom Greer, if only Cleary had have known Brian wasn't there. 5th and last here for Brooks to put it high. That is a monster of a kick by Brooksy. Kyo Weeks plants himself under it and takes it inside his own 10. When did Matt Lodge get hair? I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe Matt Lodge is like honing himself down in the back end of his career. Not going for the aggressive, just escaped prison look or the military style look. Now, what am I doing? The same game multi. My same game multi is not loaded up properly. Oh, an early shift here from the Knights. I'm still in the last game. Sebastian Chris up over halfway on the 5th and last. Strange puts the kick up from halfway. Raiders are chasing through, but it's not going to be good enough. Tommy Turbo takes it safe at the back with very little pressure put on him. But they're keeping the Manly team pinned down here, just like we saw from the Panthers and Knights in the last game. Now, out to the left they go. Kohler gets on the outside of Savage. Bends him off. Kohler's only got one to beat. Support in field. He kicks through for Saab. Saab and Tommy Turbo. It sets up for Tommy T. And Manly score under the posts. Tommy Turbo plants it down under the sticks. The breakout from Tola Kohler on that left edge. Too much speed for Xavier Savage. Well, you don't say that very often. Savage versus Kohler, and Kohler has absolutely outgunned him. Summed it up perfectly with support runners in field. Get the kick in, hope for the bounce. They got the bounce. Saab, Tommy T, take your pick. The pace of Tola Kohler. Xavier Savage does not get outfooted very often. Holy hell. What a start for Manly. Okay. What am I doing? My same game multi's not up properly. That's what I'm doing. I'm so discombobulated at the moment. Okay. The first leg of the multi did not load for some reason. As the try is confirmed, there we go. There he is. Tola Kohler. First leg of my multi. He did the team thing and kicked it in field for his support runners rather than trying to go it alone. Ruben Garrick from right in front puts it down the middle. And Manly are up 6-0 early here. But we know that Canberra can score tries at will. They can score tries back-to-back very quickly. And it's still so early in the contest, of course. Gosman Gomez. Turbo was on your multi. Nice. A nice early tick. 6-0. What a start. Tommy Turbo back to fullback and right into the try scorer's sheet. Raiders get us back underway. They certainly won't be losing faith, the Raiders. I mean, we can be sure of that. That is a fact. Canberra will not at all feel disheartened by that. And a penalty now early in the tackle count. Tough going in the early stages here for the home side. Ricky won't be pleased. 6 points to nil and a penalty, a piggyback upfield. There we go. Okay, I think I'm all set now. Manly fine touch on the halfway line. And they tap and go. And it's Kohler taking it into contact. It's been an immense start. 40 out from the Raiders line. Can they pile on some more points? Looking good to start this game here, Manly. Trbojevic onto DCE. Throws the dummy out wide. Cuts back in field. Offloads here for Takiaho. Quick play the ball. They break away down the short side for Brooks. Steps off the left. Ducks under the tackle of Tapani. 15 out from the line here on play 4. Manly playing at pace. Trbojevic in midfield. To DCE. Tommy out the back now. Shuffles it on for Talau. And Tommy T. 10 metres out from the line. 5th and last. DCE grubbers in behind the line. Well read there by Tom Starling, who can't quite get back into the field of play. Oh, goal line dropout. Big defence from Manly. What a start this has been for them. Seven minutes gone. It's been all Sea Eagles. Goal line dropout here for the Raiders. Fogarty, we know he's good at these, though. We know he's good at these. Going to send this one deep. Not even messing about with the short restart. Fogarty hammers it upfield over halfway, where it's collected by Lodge. And Matty Lodge, with his fresh new hair, carries it inside the Raiders' territory. 40 out. Takiaho straight up the guts. Slow play the ball as they turn him on his back. Brooks at first receiver. Goes out the back for Tommy Turbo. Down the left. Kohler shuffles it onto Garrick. Has to slow down and step back in field. Now he offloads back for Kohler. Kohler with some great footwork. Beats one. Fends off another. And he's 5 metres out from the line. Tolu Kohler looks like he really wants it tonight. Trbojevic to Brooks. Short ball to Waddell. And Corey Waddell taken down on play 4. Inside the 10. In midfield, here's Lodge again. The ball spills out. Play on. Raiders look to counter-attack. Sebastian Chris brings it outside the 10 and they get their hands on the pill at last. Game Amel, ahoy! A mistake from Manly. And now a penalty to the Raiders. From inside their own 20. A nice little piggyback upfield. So they've survived, the Raiders, they've survived the early pace of Manly. They did get one try, of course. A breakout from their own end of the field. Set up by Kohler, finished by Tommy Trbojevic. Can they launch an attack of their own? Playing with the breeze in the first half, the Raiders. It's in behind their right shoulders, angling across the park. So they are running with the breeze in the first half. Offload here for Tapani. Pops it over the top for Starling. Starling takes it up to halfway. Game of Mel, I've gone for the Manly in this one. I've gone for Manly in a tight one. Big Papa up over halfway through the set. Weeks, dummies, takes the line on. 30 metres out. Down the short side goes Starling again. And breaking the tackle there is Timoko. 15 metres out on the 5th and last. Quick play the ball needed. They get it. Fogarty with some front foot ball. Chips over the top. Into the end goal it goes. Bobbled by Manly. It spills out the back and they take it dead. Tommy Talau won the battle in the air. And we've got a big issue here. Big issue here for Ethan Strange. Favouring the shoulder. Ethan Strange has landed heavily on that right shoulder. And he has run back into position, favouring it. Hopefully for the Raiders, it's just a cork. As Brooks goes short with this dropout, Saab tries to put pressure on Stewart. And Stewart's taken down. 25 out from the line. Hudson Young carries it to the 20. Keep an eye on Ethan Strange. Hopefully for the Raiders, just a cork. He's still favouring that right shoulder a little bit, but it seems like he's okay. Big Papa with the settler in front of the posts, 15 out. Big open side to the left. That's where they go. Fogarty to Strange. His shoulders fine. Strange dummies. Steps off the left and dives over to score. His shoulder's absolutely fine. Or maybe it's not. Maybe that's why he didn't pass. He sells the dummy, steps off the left boot, and breaks through to score. Ethan Strange, 6-4 kick to come. Oh, this is going to be a high-scoring game. Stepping off the left, got the weak shoulder of DCE. And the Raiders, their first real opportunity down this end of the field, and they've done it easily. Ethan Strange in. Try time. Good first 10 minutes. Yes, it has been an exciting game, end-to-end stuff. Slick hands from both teams, playing at pace. Mookie with a tick off the multi. Very nice. Still waiting for my first again. Fogarty moves in. Oh, starts it off to the right, but it hooks back. And we're all locked up at 6 apiece. He did his best to miss it, Fogarty, so maybe that's a sign that it is indeed his night tonight. His form is back. We'll see as play will continue. 6 points apiece. Manly were huge outsiders in this game. Massive outsiders. But I think it will be quite close. Manly get us back underway. And here's Big Papa, giving them the go forward from the kickoff. Tackle just outside their own 10. Slow play of the ball. Big Red goes straight up the middle. Almost breaks through. Big Corey Horsburgh. Here's Tarpany now. Winds up. 30 meters out from their own line. Hudson Young. What a combination it is, right? Big Papa to Big Red to Tarpany to Hudson Young. That's your hit-ups. Fifth and last here with Big Papa again. And a penalty late in the tackle count. High contact on Big Papa as they try to bring him to ground. Jeez, that's a rough call. Rough call. Finding touch 30 meters out from Manly's line. Raiders, here they come. Sebastian Chris with the tap and go. Winds up, beats the first tackle, brings it up to the 20. Starling goes open side for Strange. Cut out pass for Big Red onto Fogarty. Weeks is at the back using pace. Pops it up for Timoko. Timoko spins. Gets it off to Savage. Savage scores in the corner. It's a tick off the multi. And the Raiders take the lead. Playing with pace. A high risk, high reward style of play that I stand by is not going to work in the finals. But it's certainly working out tonight. High risk, high reward. Throwing the ball around, keeping it alive. Always backing up. And Xavier Savage dives over in the corner for our first tick off the multi. Timoko standing in the tackle, keeping the arms free. And the Raiders go back to back. Ricky's happy. $10 to 6, kick to come from out wide. This will tell us what kind of night Jamal Fogarty's going to have. From the sideline on the unfavored side, if he puts this one over, then we know it's going to be his night. Dan says, I don't want to jinx it, but the overs looks promising. It looks like we're having one of those defense is optional games. As the try is confirmed, we're having one of those defense optional games from both teams. Manly scored long distance from their own side of halfway. The Raiders have just piled through some weak defenders. So we've seen 3 very, very simple tries. Fogarty from the sideline. This will tell us the kind of night that he's going to have. Moves in, strikes it off to the right, but it's hooking back, hits the post and bounces away. Off the upright and away it goes. 10 to 6 it remains. Yeah, the Raiders are looking likely every time they get down this end of the field, and they're getting piggybacked down. Twice now in succession, high contact penalties have gone against Manly. High contact, piggyback upfield. Raiders spread the ball and look very likely indeed. Manly with the restart. Weeks takes it, and Big Papa again winds up. Bumps off Trbojevic, and he brings it 15 out. Out the back it goes for Tarpany. Backs into the defense. Carries it up to the 20 on play 2. Starling goes to Big Red. Brings it up to the 30. They're making 10 meters every carry at the moment. Starling to Strange. Hudson Young now with a little jink and up to halfway on play 4. They are just barnstorming upfield here, the Raiders. Tarpany in midfield. Finally, a solid hit from the Manly defense. 5th and last, right on halfway. Back to Fogarty. Puts this one high, down the middle of the field. Tommy T's under it, and Trbojevic heads back outside the 20, and they put him down. Manly finally back in possession. It's been a few sets, like 3 or 4 sets, back to back to back to back for the Raiders. Manly finally get use of the footy. Saab in midfield. A big, gangly human being. Lodge up towards halfway. From dummy half. A nice scurry from Simpkin. Gets good meters. 40 out from the Raiders line. For Brooks down the short side now to kick on 5th and last. Xavier Savage tracks across to take it on the full on his own 10. And the Manly kick chase is there to greet him. 10 to 6, the Raiders lead. And as has been mentioned in the chat room, looking good every time they get down that end of the field. Darling up the middle for Hudson Young. Gets the arms free, flicks it back. Weeks on second phase play. This is where they're dangerous. But Manly shut them down on halfway. Winning the territory battle here early. The Raiders. Big Papa charges into the 40. 5th and last. Down the short side for Fogarty. Puts this one up. A contestable kick. Savage is flying through. Hoskin is flying through. It's well taken by Garrick. But Manly are pinned down inside their own 10. Fogarty's got his kicking boots on tonight. Tommy Turbo, 2 upright. Driven back into the 10-meter zone. Kohler has a crack. Gets it outside the 10, but they're still inside their own red zone. Blow play the ball. Halfway through this set, Bullymore trying to get some go forward. Simpkin from dummy half again. Brooks down the short side. That's better from Manly. Trying to catch them napping. Fifth and last. Staying down the short side again. Simpkin to Brooks. They're going to have a run. It's been touched by the Raiders, has it? No. Play on. Brooks wants the set restart. It's not been called yet. Grubber's in behind the line. Gets a second toe to it. He's been held back here, Brooks. That'll be a penalty to Manly. Well, that should be 10 in the bin. Professional foul. Brooks with the grubber kick through. Got the second toe on it. Was leading the chase. And this should be 10 in the bin. Professional foul all the way. Xavier Savage, I think it is, who's in trouble here. Xavier Savage, it could be in big trouble. Who is it? Oh, no, it's Kyo Weeks. Might be Kyo Weeks being called out. Professional foul. Pulling Luke Brooks off the ball. 10 in the bin. Off he goes. 10 in the bin for Kyo Weeks. Tarpany's trying to argue an indefensible case. Kyo Weeks reaches out, grabs the jersey of Brooks. And then Savage. It could have been Weeks or Savage. They've both done it. Kyo Weeks to the bin for 10 minutes. Manly to go on the attack. 20 metres out. No thought of taking the two. They tap and go. Bullymore plays it 10 out in front of the post. Simpkin to the left edge. DCE with the inside ball. Back in field come Manly. 5 out. Terry Evans to Bullymore. Bullymore steps off the right. Now he straightens. Thought he spotted half a gap. Hoskins got hold of him. Halfway through the set, Simpkin goes right for DCE. They've got to utilize this extra man. Tommy Turbo puts the foot down, and he's wrapped up inside the 10. 2 tackles left, big open side to the left. That's where they go. Brooks to Takiaho, who settles it down in midfield. Fifth and last, Simpkin goes right for Brooks. Quick hands out the back for Tommy Turbo, who spills it, and that'll be a handover. Not utilizing the extra man at all there. Really poor, Manly. Really poor. Their first set of 6 with Kyo Weeks in the bin, and they can't even muster up an overlap. Unbelievable. Good defense from the Raiders, though. Credit where credit's due. You've got an extra man. They needed to do better than that, Manly. So, the Raiders have got to navigate this next 10-minute period with Kyo Weeks in the bin. Jamal Fogarty, you would expect, will kick to the corners and just keep the Sea Eagles pinned down. You would have to think. Strange is going to take the kick, though. Down the short side. Saab's under it. Takes it on the full, and now Saab winds up, brings it outside the 20, and it's a big hit. Just short of their own 30-meter line here, Manly. Palau, heading across field, needed to go straighter. Slow to get up and play this one. They seem completely gassed at the moment, Manly. Monine Sabuin, ahoy mate. Gaz Johnson says DCE is an empty uniform at the moment as they break left. Oh, big hit from Savage on Kohler. Rocks him on the halfway line. From dummy half, Garrick brings it up to the Raiders 40. Fifth and last. Cherry Evans with the kick. Puts this one high. Contestable ball. Who's at fullback? Sebastian Chris is at fullback, and he takes it well. Raiders back in possession. So Manly really not offering anything here with the extra man. Big hit from Waddell. Massive hit. Here's Strange. Taking the line on. Tackled on the 30. Not a lot of arms in that tackle from Tommy Talau, must be said. Raiders on tackle 4. Here's Tarpany. Risky offload. Loses a lot of meters here, but it sits up at the back and a nice offload to Chris. Beware the broken second phase play. And Sebastian Chris taken down 5th and last on their own 40 here, the Raiders. Fogarty hooks this one off the right, looking for the bounce into touch. Gets it just outside Manly's 20. And just finding touch, kicking for the corners, finding touch, slowing play down, winding down the clock here nicely, the Raiders holding on with Kyo Weeks in the bin. Manly need to do some damage here. Well, I've got this extra man, but they're not really offering anything on attack. Edward Nime says, go Raiders, lead and win, please. As Trbojevic goes to Brooks. Brooks with the show and go is held up 5 meters in from touch over on that left edge. Still inside their own half here, Manly. Garrick, straight up the middle. Janet says, go Raider. Trbojevic out the back for DCE. Through the hands they go now. Tommy Turbo holds it up for Saab. Saab, one-on-one. Can't get on the outside of Stewart. Stewart now forces him into touch. Jed Stewart with brilliant defense there, showing Jason Saab the sideline. That's dangerous. But he held onto his pants and brings him down. Oh, that is dangerous, showing Jason Saab the sideline. They've diffused the situation, though, the Raiders. And again, Manly, 13 on 12. But honestly, you would think at the moment that the Raiders have got the extra man. Crazy. Gina Ferracini, ahoy. 10 points to 6. Kyo Weeks in the bin. And it's the Raiders who just seem to be everywhere in defense. And Manly might rue this. They might look back on this as the 10 minutes that ultimately cost them the game. Not taking advantage of the extra man. 0 points so far in this little spell. Strange in midfield. They swarm on him and put him down. Tackle 4 just inside Manly's half. Tarpany with a delayed pass. Now a flick out the back for Fogarty. Gets a nice bounce. Drops it off for Hoskin. Hoskin on the 40. 5th and last. Down the short side, Fogarty will keep this low and flat and put it into touch. Just winding down the clock. Slowing down the pace. Kyo Weeks still with about 5 minutes left in the bin, I think. Manly. Through Garrick now. They've got to come up with something. At least one. Down the short side. And they're just not finding any space. 13 on 12. And they're just not utilizing this. 3.5 minutes left in the bin for Weeks. So they're only going to get another couple of sets at it here before Canberra are back to a full complement. And I just can't believe that they're not opening them up. Brooks at the back now to Tommy Turbo. Tommy Turbo puts the foot down. He's taken 30 out. Quick play the ball. Simpkin gets there just in the nick of time. Brooks in midfield. Needs a runner. He's got it from Sipley. Sipley carries it inside the 20. 5th and last here for Manly. That's better. Simpkin goes open side for DCE. Shows it. Goes out the back for Brooks. Too heavy. What the hell was that from Brooks? He's put it into row 10 over the dead ball line. 7 tackles set now for the Raiders. Oh, Manly are cooked. Manly are absolutely cooked here tonight. This has been atrocious. This has been a disaster. Jed Stewart taps and goes. 7 tackle set incoming here for the Raiders. They'll be back to a full complement at the back end of this if they play their cards right. And it'll be 13-13 for the final 10 of this half. Starling goes quick for Hudson Young to run onto it. Tackle 2, and they're on halfway. The Raiders are actually going to come away with points. 12-13. It's just got that feeling about it. Hudson Young gets the offload. Inside Manly's 40. They'll be in an attacking position at the back end of this set. Tarpany. Inside the 30. 2 tackles left. Starling. Flat pass there to Mariota. Mariota gets the arms free, but no support runners. 5th and last. This is a huge play now. Fogarty through the hands for Strange. On to Young. Young beats the first tackle. Puts the arms out. Gets the flick pass around the back. And Jed Stewart loses it. They were about to get 6 again and potentially score in the corner. But Jed Stewart just can't cling on. That would have been massive. That would have been a huge moment in the game. 12-13 to come away with points. This is now Manly's last set with weeks in the bin. Their last set, they need to come away with something as Garrick angles back in midfield, takes on Big Red. And Corey Horsburgh brings him down on the 30. Short side for DCE. Holds the pass up for Saab. Saab has to step back in field. Dangerously close to the touchline. Manly on their own 40. Tommy Turbo at first receiver. Just shuffles it along meekly to Sipley. 2 tackles left. 2 tackles with a man advantage. Brooks with the inside ball for Tommy T. Fends away from a couple. Heads back into midfield. Throws it out to nobody. Stewart knocks it on. Jed Stewart knocks it on again. But the Raiders will be back to a full complement. Kyo Weeks makes his way over to the sideline. Ready to come back on. And the Raiders have managed this little 10-minute period perfectly. Manly have not even looked likely to score. 10 minutes with an extra man, and they did not create one single overlap or any space. Zoe, thank you very much for the heart me on TikTok. Cheers, my friend. Manly scrum. Here's Bullymore. Carries it inside the 40. Big set of 6, this one. Starling disrupts. And Simpkin goes from dummy half. 6 again for the ruck infringement. They're back to a full complement now, the Raiders. 13-13. And bobbling the ball there is Tommy Talau. Does well to hold on. 10 meters out on play 2. Tarpany complaining about something. Waddell takes the line on. 5 meters out. Big open side to the left. Simpkin takes a couple of steps. Fires it out to DCE. Brooks holds the pass up for Tommy T. Cut out pass for Garrick. Garrick grubbers in behind the line. It's taken at the back by Weeks, who's tackled in goal. Goal line dropout incoming. Unbelievable. 13-12. Manly don't even fire a shot. It goes back to a full complement. Manly go a shift and create space. It makes no sense. Fogarty goes short with the restart. Nearly got it too, but now Bullymore breaks through. Ethan Bullymore steps off the left. He's taken 10 meters out. Quick play the ball. Here's Brooks on to Cherry Evans. Steps off the right. Heads in field. 6 again here for Manly. Set restart. 9 minutes to go till the halftime break. Brooks. Dummies left. 5 meters out. Tackle 2. Penalty right out in front here for Manly. Penalty for a leg pull, I think it is. Down on the ground or holding down. What do they do here, Manly? Brooks is limping back into position. I just find this absolutely incredible. Like 13 on 12, and Manly don't even offer anything in attack. As soon as Kyo Weeks comes back on the field, they're opening up the Raiders everywhere. Tackle one here, a meter out. Simpkin fires it out to the left. Cherry Evans out the back for Brooks. Bobbles the ball, and that stalls the momentum. Slow play the ball. Brooks is hurt. Brooks was hurt on that previous penalty, and he still doesn't look healthy as Bullymore takes a settler for play 3, 10 meters out. They've got to come away with points here, Manly. Cherry Evans out the back for Tommy Turbo. Now, stepping off the right is Tommy Talau. He's close, half a meter short. That'll be 6 again, surely. No, the Raiders get away with that. Tommy Turbo fires it out to Brooks in front of the posts. And that's probably not who you want on the crash ball. Simpkin to Cherry Evans. Grubbers in behind the line. It's too heavy for a 7-tackle set. Oh, this is so poor from Manly. This is just so poor. I mean, tip your hat to the Raiders' defense, but this is just so bad from Manly. It's an absolute disaster piece before our very eyes. They had the Raiders down to 12. Didn't even offer a shot. When it gets back to 13 on 13, they decide to start playing. Oh, they're an absolute rabble here, the Sea Eagles. I'm sorry. An absolute rabble. 6 again now, the Raiders. They'll come away with points at the back end of this. Oh, this will be the backbreaker. If the Raiders get points here before halftime, this will be the backbreaker. 30 meters out. Hudson Young plays it on play 2. Mariotta bends the line. Halfway through the set, they're 15 out. Starling onto Hosking. Fogarty turns it back on the inside for Sasangi. Quick play the ball. They're offside here, Manly. Strange steps off the left. Ethan Strange fights his way over the line. They've turned him on his back and held him up. Desperation defense on their goal line for Manly. 5th and last. They've got to go back to the 10 to play it. They're short on the left edge, Manly. Defensively, Raiders go down the short side. No, they open it up. And Fogarty will kick to that side. 1-on-1, Savage bats the ball back, and it goes over the dead ball line. It was the right idea. It was perfectly executed by Fogarty, but Savage just couldn't keep it in the field of play. And Manly have dodged an almighty bullet. 5.5 to go till the break. That would have been huge. A big backbreaker if the Raiders got over there. Would have been devastating for the Sea Eagles. Tavunga's on the field, and there's Sipley running with him. Dan says, I jinxed myself. Sipley staying down here, playing for the penalty. Yes, ever since we made the comment that it looks like it's a defense optional game, both defensive lines have stepped up. Oh, Starling with an accidental finger into the eye there of Sipley, so that's why he stayed down. He can't see anything at the moment. Five minutes until the break. Manly on their own 40. Here's Tavunga. Steps off the right. Takes it up to halfway. And into Raiders territory. Yes, the defense of both teams has really stepped up. The Raiders didn't really have a choice, did they? They were down a man. They had to up their defensive game. Tavunga goes again. Playing as an extra prop. Jazz Tavunga, 5th and last for Manly. Cherry Evans from 30 out, puts it high. Saab chasing through. Tommy Turbo chasing through. Weeks spills it. It's 6 more tackles. Sipley fighting his way for the line. 6 more for Manly. Oh, they've got to come away with points. They absolutely have to. Crash ball for Bullymore. Bumps off the tackle. Reaches out and he's just short. Goal line defense from the Raiders has been so impressive. Tavunga from a standing start. Half a metre out on play 3. Simpkin, another crash ball here. Held up over the line. Raiders defending well. 4 tackles gone. Brooks. Dummies inside. Goes out for DCE. The short ball for Waddell. Well read by the Raiders defense. 5th and last now. Somehow they're holding on. Cherry Evans switches sides. Grubbers in behind the line. Needs it to sit up. Oh, and it bounces up for Savage. Savage has a foot on the end goal for a goal line dropout. Somehow the Raiders just continue to hold on. £10 to 6. 3 minutes to go until half time. Fogarty will kick the ever-loving bollocks out of this, you would expect. Sends it deep. Up over halfway again. Taken on the full at the back by Bullymore, who now winds up, and this will be a big charge into contact. Ethan Bullymore. 35 metres out in midfield. Manly. 3 minutes till the break. Can they take the lead into half-time? 25 out. Brooks out the back for DCE. Now Tommy Turbo holds the ball up nicely. Turbo 5 metres out. They're tangled up there, Fogarty and Tommy T. Tavunga has to surrender there. Got in behind his own man. Tackle 4. 5 metres out. Cherry Evans goes right. Brooks, quick hands. Tapped on for Saab, who knocks it on. And then it's knocked on by Ethan Strange. Double knock on, but it will be Raiders' ball. Unbelievable. Manly just cannot crack the line. Saab can't scoop it up, and Strange was there to make the tackle anyway. The Raiders' goal line defense can't be broken. Scrum down in midfield here. Fogarty feeds it. Raiders come away. 15 out from their own line. A minute and a half to go until the break. Somehow the Raiders are going to be taking the lead into halftime. They can throw caution to the wind here, the Raiders. Manly probably won't get another shot. And here they go with an early shift left for Hudson Young, who straightens and takes tackle 4. Quick play of the ball. Hosking up the middle. 5th and last, just inside Manly's territory. Fogarty goes for the 2-point drop goal and misses. So Manly, they'll get a few tackles here. The 2-point droppy was the option from Fogarty. I thought they might have thrown caution to the wind a little bit there and put it through the hands. They've done so much defending. Cherry Evans with the 20-metre kick puts it in behind and up to halfway. And with 30 seconds to go, Manly get the scrum down here, just inside the Raiders' territory. They'll get one play. 14 seconds remaining. They might get one hit up and a crack at the 2-point drop goal themselves. $14 seconds left till halftime. Here they go. Cherry Evans inside to Bullymore. Bullymore sets it up. 45 out. It's going to be a big kick. The Raiders pin Bullymore down, trying to hold up the play of the ball. Cherry Evans snaps it. 2-point drop goal. He misses off to the left. And it goes over the dead ball line. 10 points to 6 it is at halftime in favor of the Raiders. So after it looked like it was going to be a defense optional game, it's turned into a very defensive game. The Raiders have somehow just turned Manly away time and time again. 10 points to 6 at the break. Anthony Seibold will have some words at halftime. Manly were absolutely dire in that first half on attack. Incredible. They had Kyo Weeks in the sin bin. It was 13 on 12, and they couldn't take any advantage of it whatsoever. They had an extra man advantage, and they didn't make any space. The second, the very set of 6, Kyo Weeks comes back onto the field, and it's 13 on 13. Suddenly, Manly start throwing the ball around and look likely on the edges. The Raiders scrambling defense on their own goal line. Somehow, they held Manly out a couple of times there. I don't know how. But it's unbelievable. I mean, they needed to come away with points. I think that Manly will look back at the end of this game and rue that 10-minute period with Weeks in the sin bin. They got no points. They played it so badly. Such a poor 10-minute period from Manly. It's almost like they felt, it appeared like they felt like it would just happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They didn't really try anything when they had that extra man advantage. They felt like they just have to run the ball down and it will happen. Space will open up. We've got the extra man. We don't have to do anything too intense here. It'll open up. We've got the extra man advantage, but it just didn't happen. They played it too conservative, kept it too tight, and the Raiders were easily able to repel. So we'll see. 10 points to 6 at the break. Still anybody's game. But unless Manly really improve their attack and their kicking game, it's hard to see where they're going to get points from, really. Quite frankly. (10-6) at the break. I'm going to have myself a quick break. And we'll be back to dissect that first half and see what might come up in the second half right after this. Here on the Wasted World of Sports. Slight advantage for the home side at halftime. Halftime here, 10 points to 6. The Raiders with the lead. King Glocks says, looks like Doggy's playing in the rain again. Yes, I heard about that. Seems like wet weather is on the radar for the Bulldogs against the Warriors. Now, does that make one have a think about their tips? Or are the Dogs finally going to be a success in the wet weather? It's hard to know, isn't it? Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on the weather conditions tomorrow and play that one by ear. Gaz Johnson says, to be honest, Manly have been really unpredictable all season. I, for the life of me, just can't understand how they just offered up absolutely nothing in that 10-minute period. That 10-minute period with Kyo Weeks in the bin. Oh, geez, I hope Anthony Seabold absolutely rips them a new one. Anyway, either way, tears them to shreds at halftime because that was atrocious, that little period of play. But outside of that, I mean, they've been decent enough, Manly. I think against a lesser committed team defensively, like the Raiders have just... I think the Raiders were embarrassed by their efforts last week. Their defense has been scrambling on their own goal line and immaculate. There's just no way through. But, I mean, that being said, the Raiders, it's very hard to get momentum back once you've lost it. I talk about that all the time. But they haven't really looked likely themselves either, have they? So it's still... The Raiders have had to do so much defense. You get the feeling that if Manly put a quick one on in the second half, it could really open up. And by the same token, if the Raiders score early in the second half, Manly really should be in the lead based on the stats. 10 minutes with a man down, all the attack in the red zone. They probably should be in front. So if the Raiders score a quick try in the second half, it might just open up the floodgates the other way. So, yeah, it's going to be a very, very intriguing opening 10 minutes of this second half. King Glocks, you put 50 on the Warriors, so you'll be happy either way. Yeah. Probably not a bad call, actually. Probably not a bad call. If rain is expected, just have a cheeky little wager on the Warriors. Let's see. What are they on at the moment? They are... Yeah, $3 outsiders. That's mighty tempting. Mighty tempting. If there's even a hint of rain hanging about, which there is, $3 outsiders for the Warriors is a mighty, mighty tempting call. I don't know if I'm going to be able to resist that one. I might have to throw down as well there, King Glocks. $3.06 to the dollar in wet weather. That's tempting. Poor old Jonathan Thurston, JT, down there on the sidelines. Of course, he's used to that weather up in North Queensland. He's having a rough night of it down there in Canberra. He's on Struggle Street, the poor fella. So 10 points to 6 at the halftime break. Yeah, I really, really do believe Manly, they'll be kicking themselves that they couldn't take advantage of that extra man in any capacity. I mean, Fogarty kicked well to the corners. Didn't really give Manly the chance to run the ball back. I mean, that was the key. Put the ball into touch. Of course, the opposition doesn't get a chance to run it back at you. You have a set defensive line. It was really smart play with that man in the bin, Kyo Weeks. And they controlled that period of play so well. Manly just didn't have any answers for it. Manly, you would think that they would be desperate as well. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they're too desperate. The Raiders are happy to just let Manly play the game, make their mistakes, hold them out, because ultimately it doesn't matter for the Raiders if they win or lose. Obviously, they want to win. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that they're not trying to win. But when you get these situations, Manly are playing potentially for their season, whereas the Raiders have already safely qualified for the finals. Even if they fall off a cliff for the rest of the season in the regular rounds, they will still make the top 8. Even if they completely fall apart, they probably still make the top 4. So when you get desperation stations like that, one team's got so much to play for, the other team doesn't. Manly might just come out a little more desperate in the second half, is what I'm trying to say. And in that scenario, absolutely anything can happen. So I can't help but notice we've done a full stream. We've done 2 games now on TikTok, and fingers crossed that I'm not jinxing anything. We've had no alerts for the unoriginal content strikes that we were getting. So next game, which will be tomorrow, I might just have to try. It looks like the webcam might have been the issue. Might have been the webcam being the troublemaker. The next game, we perhaps try removing the green screen. That'll be the next test, I think. Remove the green screen, have the setup back like we used to with my nice, cool stadium backdrop, and just see if maybe it doesn't like... See if it was the webcam. King Glock says, yes, if Manly scores first, it becomes even more of a danger game. Yeah, I reckon they've got to get... I don't think Manly can surrender the lead if they get it back, is what I mean, obviously. Because obviously they've already surrendered the lead. But in this second half, I think Manly need to strike. They don't necessarily have to strike first. It would be very helpful if they did, obviously. But I think if the Raiders score, 14 or 16-6, it's not all she wrote necessarily, although I feel like momentum-wise it probably would be. But on the scoreboard, it's not necessarily. I think Manly do need to strive to be the first team to score. They need to score probably 2 in a row. They probably need to go back-to-back before they even give the Raiders a hint of a sniff. Because I think if the Raiders reclaim the lead, it'll be all she wrote. I think Manly have got to get in front and stay in front to secure this one. But like I said, I had gone either team 1-12. I sat firmly on the fence. I couldn't split these 2 teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Golden Point. That would not shock me at all. I was not able to split these 2 teams in all the lead up. DJ Shaq. Yes, I talked about that a little bit in the halftime break. I feel like Manly were a little too conservative when Kyo Weeks was in the bin. They didn't really offer anything in attack. They didn't do any shifts out wide to the edges to try and take advantage of that extra man. It had that feeling like they had the mindset of we just need to play our game and it will happen naturally. We don't need to make anything happen. We've got 13 on 12. It'll just happen. It didn't just happen. And it was interesting that as soon as Kyo Weeks came back on the field, Manly started throwing the ball around and shifting and running set plays. And I said, where was this when Weeks was in the sin bin? Where was this when you had an extra man? You're playing like this now? You needed this 10 minutes ago. But anyway, I digress. All right. I've got to grab another bottle of mixer. I'll be right back. Yes, you can absolutely be guilty of playing it a little too safe. And I think that's what Manly did there in that 10-minute period. And I really, really do think that 10-minute period will come back to haunt them at the back end of this game. Referee blows the whistle for the second half. Crucially, Manly do get first use of the footy as the Raiders, the home side, get us back underway. 40 more minutes to separate these two teams. 10-6, the Raiders lead. And an early shift here from Manly, trying something a little different. Well, where was that when they had an extra man advantage? As Saab surrenders in the tackle, 15 meters out, or 25 out, sorry. I was trying to steal 10 meters off them. Tackle 3 on their own 30. Tavanga backs into the defense. Taken down on their own 40. Tommy Turbo up the middle, 5th and last, on halfway. DCE puts the kick down to the corner. Taken on the 10-meter line by Stewart. Stewart eyes up the kick chase, takes them on, and they bring down the big fella. Inside their own 20. Here's Seb Chris, carries it outside. Tackle 2. And it was also very well controlled by Jamal Fogarty as well, DJ. Canberra come up with a mistake. Brooks dives on the loose ball. And here they come. This is the gift they needed. Manly, 40 meters out from the Raiders line. A gift set of 6. They have absolutely got to make them pay. The Raiders scrambled and clawed and defended their own try line. They absolutely need to sink the boot in here, Manly, and take advantage of that gift. Brooks with the short ball for Chee-Kam. 15 out from the line. Slow play the ball. Simpkin sends it right for DCE. Hands it off for Tavanga. Tavanga carries it inside the 10. Just to the right of the post. Tackle 2. Simpkin goes out the back for DCE. Inside ball. 5 meters out here. Manly slow play the ball. Conveniently all tangled up. Fake Slim Shady. Ahoy, mates. Brooks out the back for Tommy Turbo. Turbo puts the foot down. Bends the line and he's taken down a meter short. Oh, and he's hurt himself, Turbo. A little bit ginger. Walking back to position. 5th and last now in midfield. The Raiders goal line defense again. Immaculate. Slow play the ball. Brooks. Cutout pass for Tommy Turbo. Takes them on again, but the Raiders put him on his back. Aggressive tackle from Xavier Savage. They showed them the sideline. And if Turbo wasn't hurt before, he surely is now. They have just monstered him onto the deck and he's whacked his head. I reckon independent doctor might step in there. Yep. Off for a HIA. I think. Dan says, how many chances do Manly need? I know, right? This has been immaculate goal line defense from the Raiders. Surely they can't just keep holding on, though. Like, surely they have to crack at some point. If Manly can just hold on themselves, surely the Raiders crack at some stage. But yes, DJ Shaq, ironically enough, Jamal Fogarty off to Manly next season to replace DCE. So isn't that interesting that he is winning the battle out there tonight? They've done a good trade-up, I think, Manly. Fogarty in for DCE because Jamal is definitely winning the battle out there this evening. And he'll be a great addition to the Manly lineup once they lose Cherry Evans to the Roosters. 30 out from their own line here, Manly. Garrick takes on Ethan Strange and Morgan Smithies. Carries it up to the 40. Here's Cherry Evans. Inside ball. And Corey Waddell takes it up to halfway. Fake Slim Shady, you're going to the Dogs vs Warriors game. Who takes the W? Well, the whispers are that it's going to be a very rainy day, Fake Slim Shady. And rain means potentially trouble for the Bulldogs, right? Trouble for the Doggies, perhaps, in wet weather. 25 out here on the fifth and last. Bullymore plays it quickly. Cherry Evans dinks it in over the top on the short side for Saab. Saab waits for it to bounce. Kyo Weeks takes it, and they take him back in goal for a goal line dropout. Fogarty is going to monster this kick, though. Oh, now the other thing that I forgot to point out at halftime, remember the Raiders were playing with a breeze in the first half. The breeze was at their back. How many points was the breeze worth? Was it only worth 4? Can Fogarty still get the distance off these restarts? No. In the first half, he was putting them up over halfway. Sipley now offloads. Back for Simpkin. Simpkin carries it inside the 20. Didn't get the distance on that restart, Fogarty. Kicking into the breeze. Tavanga at first receiver. Drops it off inside for Bullymore. Bullymore carries to the 10. They surely can't keep holding on here, the Raiders. It's been impressive defense so far. Tavanga to Brooks. Fogarty races up on him and shuts him down. His future halves partner. Cherry Evans. The inside ball again for Waddell. Tackle 4 and very slow, as somebody rightfully pointed out in the chat. Bullymore angles back in. Bursts his way over the line, but they hold him up and drive him back into the field of play. Oh, this goal line defense. This goal line defense is incredible. Brooks now on the fifth and last. Flat pass to Kohler. Fends off with the left hand. Fends off a second. And Kohler dives over to score. A second tick off the multi. And importantly, Manly finally break through this wall of Raiders defenders. He set up their first one, Tola Kohler, and he finally bags one for himself. Stepping off the left, getting the weak shoulder of Fogarty, gets the weak shoulder of Starling, who overruns it and puts the fend on Kyo Weeks. 10-all with the kick to come. That was a big moment, that one. Big moment. They had to score, and they finally did, says DJ Shack. Kaylane William needs both Manly wingers for $5,000. Well, we'll be cheering that on. I need Jason Saab for mine as well. Oh, yes. Game on indeed. Ruben Garrick from just to the left of posts. Should put this one over blindfolded. Puts it through. And Manly have taken the lead. 12 points to 10. Finally. They have been on the attack pretty much. I mean, when was Kyo Weeks sent to the bin? Kyo Weeks was sent to the sin bin in the 18th minute. From about the 28th minute, when Kyo Weeks came back on the field, it's been all Manly. From the 28th minute and flowing over into the second half, Manly have been dominating. They finally have cracked the line. Now do the floodgates open. Bullymore, he's been immense. And they're working well off the back of his carries. Here's Tavanga now, working as a prop. Carries it outside the 30. Short side for DCE. Waddell angles back in field. Just short of halfway here on play 4. They seem like they're running with a bit more authority and confidence. Simpkins from dummy half catches them napping. Takes it to the Raiders 40 on 5th and last. More confidence and more authority in these runs. Cherry Evans from 40 out. Sends it deep, not contestable. Savage takes it. They've got to be up on him quickly. Don't give him an inch of space. Raiders back in possession. 15 out from their own line. She's a funny old game, rugby league. Yes, indeed, DJ Shaq. Funny old game indeed. And of course, speaking of other codes, we are looking forward to the upcoming Rugby Championship, I'm sure. Can the Wallabies build off their 3rd test win and get some momentum for the upcoming championship? Raiders play the ball to nobody, and Jazz Tavanga spills it. But there will be a penalty here for markers not square to the Raiders. The Raiders lucky to get a penalty here. Very lucky to get that call go their way. But here they come now, the Raiders. Can they hit straight back? 40 metres out from Manly's line. Full set of 6. There's play 1. Mariota with a good strong carry. Hoskin used as a decoy. Goes out the back for Fogarty. On to Weeks. Well read by the Manly defence. Kohler was all over Kyo Weeks there. 30 out from the line. Fogarty in midfield. To Mariota again. 25 out. 12-10. Manly lead. 10 gone in the second half. Fogarty inside ball for Smithies. Smithies with a good strong leg drive. 2 tackles left. They're only 15 out. Starling scoops it up. Goes short side for Strange to step off the left and score. Too easy. Too easy. Ethan Strange gets a double. The exact same try as the first half. Too easy. Ethan Strange stepping off the left. Just like the first half. Unstoppable. Raiders up 14-12. Kick to come. Manly had finally broken through, and they've just given the lead, surrendered it straight back. That will be very, very painful for them. Nick Clark says he's got a big future ahead of him, Ethan Strange. Yes, hopefully it's not at the Raiders. Oh, Manly had to fight so hard to take the lead, and then they just gifted it straight back. I've got to say, a little bit lucky to get the penalty. The Raiders played the ball to nobody. There was no dummy half. The penalty went to the Raiders for marker not square, but Jazz Tavanga had a Raider offside in front of him. It was a very dubious penalty that got the Raiders in this position in the first place. But when they got down here, way too easy. Manly's defense needed to number up a bit better than that. Fogarty from about 15 to the left of the post puts it down the middle. And that completely now wipes out Manly's try. And we are back to the halftime margin. 16 points to 12. Raiders are up. Dan says now Manly will spend the next 30 minutes in the Raiders half and not score. Scott Hughes. Ahoy, mate. Happy Friday. Yep, probably should have been a penalty to Manly instead of a penalty Raiders, but them's the breaks, as they say. That's the way it just goes sometimes. 16-12. Manly get us back underway. Savage takes it, gives it off to Mariota for the hit up. Captain Morgan's, Scotty. Captain Morgan's out of an Asahi Cup. I'll tell you what, though, Manly losing would be great for the Broncos and the Sharks and the Dolphins. They'll be hoping that Manly drop the ball here. Tackle 3 now for the 4, for the Raiders. Up over the 40. Here's Smithies up to halfway, 5th and last. Fogarty completely out-kicking Cherry Evans tonight. Here he goes for another one on halfway. That's a monster of a kick. Garrick tracking back, takes it. But Manly will start the set on their own 20. Jamal Fogarty's kicking game has been, in my opinion, the difference maker tonight. Not just the Raiders' goal line defense, which has been immense. But, I mean, Fogarty's kicking game, the way that he maneuvered the ball through that period where Kyo Weeks was in the sin bin. I mean, last week was a bit of an anomaly, but Jamal Fogarty is definitely one of the premier halves in the game this season. Slow set of 6, this one for Manly. Takiaho gets them some good go forward. 5th and last on halfway. Cherry Evans down the short side. Keeps it low and flat using the breeze. Can't get it in behind Jed Stewart, who now winds up. Brings it out to the 20 using their pace. The Raiders. Oh, forward pass there from dummy half. Jeez. Lucky to get away with that one. Flipping into contact there was Sebastian Chris. Shaking it off. Nick Clark says, I just read his mind as a Broncos supporter. Yes, wanting Manly to lose. Up to halfway now. Big Papa backs into the defense. Tackle 4. Raiders starting to get themselves back on top here in this contest. Young onto Strange. Down the left edge they go. Chris with a forward pass to Stewart. Stewart back in field for Strange. Strange with the right arm fend. Well, it's off a forward pass, but they get the try. Brooks tries to save the day, a desperation dive, but Strange gets a hat-trick. And that'll be the game. Still plenty of time to go, but Manly just don't look likely. Ethan Strange gets a hat-trick. I don't know how much further forward Sebastian Chris had to throw that ball before it gets called. But you've got to play to the whistle. And play to the whistle they did. Ethan Strange gets that big right arm out. Puts the fend on. What about this flick pass back in field from Jed Stewart? Cherry Evans just got made a complete tit out of. $20 points to 12, the kick to come. Well, it's gone pretty much as I predicted at the moment, hasn't it? I said Manly needed to score back-to-back because if they surrender the lead, the floodgates will open. And here is the opening of the floodgates. 2012 with the kick to come. And Manly will look back on this game and they will rue that 10-minute period with Kyo Weeks in the bin. And they did absolutely nothing with it. 0. They offered on attack. Now they've got to try and fight back from 10 points down. Over it goes. 22 points to 12. Raiders on top. Dan says 3 tries in 15 minutes like the first half. Of course, looking for overs. Looking for overs there. A hat-trick of tries for Ethan Strange. Well, I've got to say, I certainly did not see... Well, I didn't see 3 tries for anybody incoming. Big Papa charges into contact, bumps off Jake Trbojevic, and Jakey's out. Jakey's done for the night. Jake Trbojevic tried to line up Big Papa. He comes off second best. And that'll be Jake Trebojevic's night. Will, ahoy there, mate. Jakey Trbojevic straight off the field for HIA. Got himself 2 front on there with Big Papa. And as if Manly needed anything else to go against them here. $22 points to 12, 23 minutes to go. I mean, there's still time. There's still time, but if I sound very down on Manly, it's just because they do not look likely. There's still plenty of time, and anything can happen in a game of rugby league, as we know, but I mean, it's not looking likely. Will, absolutely, we will be back again for the Big Bash this season. 100%. Fifth and last now for the Raiders. 45 out. Fogarty puts it high. It holds up in that breeze. Saab's under it. Takes it well. Saab brings it outside the 20. Gets some good leg drive going. Manly need to strike next, obviously, and they need to do it pretty quickly. The Raiders have had to do a lot of defending, so a couple of quick tries is certainly not out of the question. Bullymore up over halfway, steps off that right foot, goes back in field, carries it inside the 40. 2 tackles left here for Manly. This has been a good set. Simpkin goes to Tavanga. Tavanga out the back for DCE. They attack right. Tommy Turbo steps off the right, but very slow. 20 metres out. Manly play it. Fifth and last. Cherry Evans stays down the short side. Chips it over the top for Saab. Weeks, though, plants himself under it. And he's taken down a couple of metres out from his own try line. Kyo Weeks. Cherry Evans just needed to hold that. Oh, Saab favouring the shoulder. Jeez, they can't afford to lose anybody else. They've lost Jakey Trbojevic for the night. They don't want to lose Jason Saab as well on top of it. Not been a good night out here for Manly. As the Raiders now with a 10-point lead, looking pretty secure about things here. Fifth and last. Strange from inside the 40. Tracking back. Taken by Saab. That'll test out the shoulder. Bad news for Jakey Trbojevic. Oh, no. We don't want that. Poor Jakey boy. And he's going to be in a standout period as well. Dear, oh dear. Tavanga on to Brooks. Goes out the back for Collar. Well read by Sasangi. Big defense again from the Raiders. Quick play the ball, though. Simpkin goes up over halfway. Fifth and last. Manly put this one high. Savage does well. Leaps and takes it with confidence. 10 points the difference. 20 minutes left to play. Manly struggling to break the line open. They did themselves in, I reckon, when... Whoops. They did themselves in when they leaked that try straight back. They got that try back way too quickly. Nineteen and a half minutes to go. We've got a stoppage here. And we've come up with a mistake here from the Raiders. All right, so here's the opportunity for Manly. 19 and a half to go. A full set of 6, 20 metres out. How much longer can the Raiders' defence hold on? They've done so well so far. Brooks. Tavanga angles back in field. Carries it inside the 10. Halfway through the set. 5 metres out. Just to the left of post. Simpkin goes right. They're up quickly on Cherry Evans. Brooks. Inside ball for Waddell. Waddell taken down on play 4. Simpkin. The crash ball for Takiaho. 5th and last. Going down the short side. Cherry Evans now. Grubbers in behind. Lost forward by Ethan Strange. And a penalty will go to the Raiders. Penalty to the home side. Well, they're getting all the calls now. The home side, they couldn't win a trick in the first half, but they're getting everything now. Penalty to Canberra and a nice little piggyback upfield. Fogarty finds touch just short of the 30-metre line. 18 minutes left to play. Big Red's out on the bike. Ready to unleash Big Red back onto the park. Hudson Young plays it just short of halfway. Carpeny up into Manly territory. Here they come again now, the Raiders, looking to put this game to bed with 18 minutes to play. And you would think another try would do just that. Big Papa with the short ball almost puts Sasangi through a gap. Nice hands there from Big Papa. Starling over into midfield for Hoskin. Hoskin looks to get they always look to get the arms free. They never die in the tackles here, the Raiders. Fogarty puts this one high. Oh, this is a big kick. Tommy Turbo comes forward and takes it well. 17 minutes left. Manly need to pull off an absolute miracle here. .25 out from their own line. Garrick now. Manly's attack has just been so flat-footed and so slow. Chee-Kam gets the offload. Back for Garrick. Second phase ball now for Bullymore, but no gaps in this defence. Simpkin onto Tavanga. Cut out pass to nobody, and it sits up for Sebastian Chris. And there's the ball game. It sits up for Chris. And that's the game. Big mistake there from Manly. And the ball pops up right onto the chest of Sebastian Chris against the rudder play. And away he goes to score the match winner. Raiders back to the top of the table. Manly, a disappointing performance with their season on the line almost. This is what they've dished up. Atrocious. Oh, Anthony Seibold, he can't stand it. Oh, to be a coach. To be an NRL coach. Sitting up there watching that play out. This atrocious game by Manly. Absolutely awful they've been. And Seb Chris, didn't have him in my multi, of course. 26-12, kick to come from right in front. Pan says Raiders must know I have the overs because the Manly attack clearly doesn't. The Manly attack doesn't seem to know that they're basically playing for their season tonight. From right in front, Fogarty puts it over. And if you're a Manly supporter, Jamal Fogarty cannot arrive at your club soon enough. 28-12, 14 to play. To Manly. Oh, King Locks says, would you rather Raiders break their premiership drought or Panthers get 5 in a row? Panthers 5 in a row, for sure. Yeah, you're asking the wrong person there, though. The Raiders are my most hated team in the whole competition, so probably not the best person to ask. That was an easy one for me. Hudson Young with the fend keeps the ball alive. Oh, they're throwing caution to the wind now, the Raiders. Horsburgh looks to offload. 14 minutes to play. Fogarty puts this one high into the breeze. Garrick moves forward. It's lost forward by the Raiders. It sits up in midfield. Play on for the moment as the referee plays advantage. And we come back for the knock on and the handover to Manly. 10 metres out from their own line. King Glocks, you're the opposite. You'd rather Raiders if the doggies don't get it. Panthers third in line. Well, it'll be Panthers versus Storm in the grand finals, so it's more likely to be the Panthers 5 in a row. I just don't think the Raiders have the game to compete in finals. They rely too much on luck. Too much helter-skelter, throwing the ball around, flick passes out the back. That just doesn't work in finals, as the Broncos in 2023 found out. Systematic play will always win out in the end over high-risk helter-skelter play. As Brooks with the inside ball to Tommy Turbo. And that's what the Raiders remind me of, the 2023 Broncos. I think that's a fair comparison. A young team punching above their weight. Not afraid of failure. So they've done extremely well. But a systematic, game plan-oriented Storm or Panthers, Bulldogs even, as long as it's not raining. Penalty here to the Raiders. And Xavier Savage seems to have hurt himself here in the tackle. He'll be right, though. Yeah, he was staying down to milk that one. Milking it for all it was worth. He's fine. 11 and a half to play. 28-12. Manly, they just couldn't take advantage of the extra man. Played way too conservative. Craig Howard says, does Ricky Stewart have a chewing gum sponsor? Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But everyone's got something. Like, I guess for me, I've always got to be doing something with my hands. Whether I'm holding onto the microphone stand or I've got a drink. If I'm not doing that, I'm usually rubbing the hands together. So maybe Ricky Stewart's thing is not his hands. It's his mouth. Probably just his thing. Raiders finding touch off the back of another penalty as the Manly discipline goes out the window for the final 10 minutes. It's like kind of like baseball players, I suppose. Baseball managers, back in the old days, it used to be the chewing tobacco. And the Raiders get a set restart here. Cherry Evans knocks the ball on as he goes for the intercept. It used to be the chewing tobacco in baseball. But of course, that's really not a thing anymore. Matty, thank you very much for the heart me over there on TikTok. Yeah, that's not really a thing anymore. The chewing tobacco, they've gone to gum as well. So, yeah, it's just his thing. I'll tell you what I like about Ricky, though. I like how Ricky has always been down on the sideline. I think more coaches should do that. And I understand why they're up in the coach's box. You get a better bird's eye-ish view from up there in the coach's box, but I would like to see more coaches. It's NFL style, isn't it? The coach down on the sideline. It's easier to run messages out, isn't it? Because you're right there. But it also, to me, in rugby league circles, it shows... What's the word I'm looking for? It shows a sense of unity and mateship. Like, I'm not the coach. I'm not just the coach. I'm one of the boys. I'm down here on the sidelines with you. Rain, hail, or shine, I am down here on the sideline with you as the Raiders kick through and it goes over the dead ball line for a 7-tackle set here for Manly. 8.5 to play. 16 points the difference. It'd take a miracle from here. But it's Ricky Stewart saying to the troops, I'm in this with you. I'm going to sit here on the pine. Well, he doesn't sit down, does he? He stands up the whole time. I'm going to stand here on the bench with you. We're in this together. And I think the results speak for themselves. He's got this young team of nobodies. I mean, if you were picking an NRL super team of 13 players, there would be very few Raiders in the squad. He's got a team of relative nobodies currently sitting on top of the table. So he's doing something right. And I reckon it starts with standing down on the sidelines with the squad during the games. That's my 2 cents anyway. Fifth and last here for Manly. 20 out from the line. Cherry Evans kicks for the corner. Saab racing through. Saab bats it back. And it's taken away by Chris. Seb Chris in open space. Cherry Evans to beat. He's got Weeks in support. Weeks puts the accelerator on. In and away. Gives it back out to Chris. And Manly scramble and bring them down 25 out. But they've got front foot ball here, the Raiders. Hudson Young. Short ball back on the inside. And it's called forward. Forward pass there from Hudson Young. Oh, they had about a 42-on-1 overlap to the right. But Hudson Young went back down the short side. Matty says, thoughts on Parramatta next or coming years? Jason Riles is actually doing good things, in my opinion. Just because Dylan Brown is still at the squad and just because Dylan Brown has committed to seeing out his contract doesn't mean you should automatically play him. I have always said, even if a player is better than your other options, if he is not committed to the club long term and you've got a junior coming through the ranks that needs game time and your season's pretty much already over, you put the young guy in. Penalty hit at Manly. So I think Riles is doing the right thing, even though Dylan Brown's coming back into the squad for this week. As Big Red, Corey Horsburgh's firing up. 6 minutes to play. There's balls flying everywhere. And Big Red's not happy. So I think he's doing good things, setting the team up for the future. I mean, it would have taken a lot of courage to come in, take over the team, and clean out what he considered to be some of the dead wood or players who were on their last legs. Think Gutherson, for example, Regan Two Dads. Move them along. And I think off the back of Mitch Moses, Talon De Silva as well. They've got some good players coming through. I think they'll be set up nicely in the coming years. Now, I don't necessarily have them as a premiership threat, but they'll certainly, I reckon, they'll certainly be back in the 8, around the fringes of the 8 maybe next season, and then the season after. So 2027, I think they'll be well entrenched back in the 8 and competing in finals. They might do it next year. I think they'll be on the fringe next year. They might be sort of where the Roosters are at this season. But well back into the fighting for the contest in 2027 and beyond. As Saab steps off the right boot. 5 minutes to play here. 28 points to 12 in favour of the home side. It's been a disappointing display from Manly. Can they get some consolation points? Brooks on the 5th and last. Kicks for the corner, looking for Garrick. Garrick against Savage. Xavier Savage wins the battle in the air. They've been too good tonight, the Raiders, and Manly have just been piss poor. Craig Howarth just going back to the Ricky Stewart talk. He wants to still be at one with his players. And that's exactly right. And if you show that towards the players, they believe in you. Yeah, I think one of the best things Ricky Stewart ever did in his coaching career was plant himself down on the sideline with the rest of the troops. 4 minutes to play as this game just meanders towards its conclusion. The Raiders have got it sewn up. They have done for a while. I actually think the Raiders probably had this sewn up before. Oh, that's a high kick. Manly let it bounce, and it sits up for Garrick just outside the try line. What a kick from Jamal Fogarty. Sticky wanted Jamal to spiral that one. Well, Jamal had other ideas. Big defense here from the Raiders. They're pretty keen to close this one out with no further damage done. A solid end to the game. They might not be my favorite team, but you've always got to give credit where credit is due. As Manly go on the shift out to the left. Tommy Turbo has been well wrapped up tonight. Just not the same anymore, Tommy T, is he? 5th and last, Brooks angling for the 40-20. Savage traps it with the boot. Dives on the ball. 3 minutes to go. 28 points to 12. Weeks in midfield. Craig Howarth can't wait for next season. The Bunnies to have a full contingent of players. Hopefully be in the top 8 for the whole season. 100% Craig Howarth. We went through this the other week. Last week when the Bunnies were playing the Broncos. We went through it. South Sydney literally have an entire starting 13 out injured. We went through the list of players and said, if this was your squad for the Perth Bears, for example, if Perth Bears had free access to all the Rabbitohs injured players as their starting squad when they come into the competition, they would be highly competitive. They've had so many players out, a full team. We went through the list. It was immense. Jumped on the NRL Physio website, which is easily findable. Just search in Google NRL current injuries. I think we searched for NRL current injuries, and you've got the official NRL Casualty Award and suspension information. And we went to the Rabbitohs. And we went through this team. So, the Rabbitohs, current injured players. Now, this also includes Latrell Mitchell, who's possibly expected back this weekend. As Manly shift out to the right, Tommy Turbo holds the pass up for Saab, but Canberra's sliding defense, too good. So just imagine Perth Bears coming into the competition, and this is the team that they throw out there. Big Mal sends this team out for round number 1 in their opening season. Tell me this team would not be competitive. As long as they had some players in and around them, of course, in key positions. Latrell Mitchell, Michaeli Ravalawa, Jack Whiten, Campbell Graham, Cameron Murray, Jaden Sullivan, Cody Walker, Keon Kalamatangi, Davey Moale, Tavita Totola. Mal Meninga would be just frothing at the prospect of having those players as the starting squad. 1 minute 15 left in this game. The Raiders go back to the top of the table. Dan is heartbroken. He had overs in this game. What was overs? Was it 49? 28-12. So close, yet so far. Sorry, Mally, you can't have them. There's Craig Howarth. Maddie says to have all of them out at once is like a virus. Speaking of all out at once, what about the Broncos last night? 3 hamstrings in the one game, 2 in the one sequence. Crazy scenes. Fogarty puts the ball high. Tommy Turbo moves forward, takes it well. Tommy Turbo's just lost that. He's getting to that stage of his career off the back of all these injuries. He just doesn't have the same pace at the back. Moving to fullback tonight. I thought it might have been the difference maker. As the siren sounds, the Raiders, 28 points to 12 winners, back to the top of the table for the Green Goblins. They are, of course, I'm sorry to tell you, Raiders supporters, just making up the numbers. But one can always hope. If you've never had a dream, you've never had a dream come true. So keep on believing, Raiders supporters. Back to the top of the table with a bye in hand as well. I still think the Storm get the minor premiership. We're yet to see Melbourne click into top gear. Raiders will probably sit in second spot, though. Storm. I did have Storm, Bulldog, Raider, Panther originally. But now off the back of this win, I think Storm, Raider, Bulldog, Panther. Raiders versus Bulldogs in week 1 of the finals in Canberra. And Canberra can pray for wet weather in that one. Peter TikTok says up the milk. 28 points to 12, a couple of tries against the run of play. Kind of ruined the 1 to 12. Bad and mean green machine. Says Peter TikTok. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how they go in the finals. Getting a home ground advantage, always important. Dan, what was your overs? How much did you miss out by? It must have ended up being pretty close. Just a couple more tries, and you might have been across the line. But really disappointing from Manly. That period of time where Kyo Wicks was in the sin bin, that was the killer. That was really the killer. They had the extra man advantage. They couldn't do anything with it. As a matter of fact, it seemed like they weren't even trying until Kyo Wicks came back on the field. It's almost like 13 on 12. They just completely forgot how to play. Once it was back to 13 on 13, Manly started to look a little bit better. Jaden says, thoughts on the Broncos? You know what? I actually think the Broncos will be okay. I never thought the Broncos were a premiership threat this year. Sorry to the Broncos supporters. I didn't think this year was going to be their year anyway, but I always had them making the finals. And obviously losing Reynolds and Mam cost them any chance of that particular game when they both went down. But I think with Ben Hunt shifting out into the halves, and they've got a good couple of youngsters coming through to fill the void for a few weeks. Adam Reynolds is expected back in 3 to 4 weeks. Selwyn Cobbo, I think, is a little bit longer, 4 to 6. And Ezra Mam, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks. So I think they'll be right. The Broncos, they'll still make the 8. Especially off the back of this loss to Manly. Manly certainly won't be tracking them down. As long as they get back 1. I mean, Selwyn Cobbo is surplus to requirements, isn't he? Really, let's be honest. They've got enough talent out there to fill the void in the back line. And as long as they get one of Reynolds or Mam back for the playoffs, Billy Walters is a more than capable replacement for Ben Hunt at hooker, and Ben Hunt moves out into the halves. I mean, it's pretty easy to fill that gap, isn't it? Jaden, you reckon you need Ezra more than Adam Reynolds? Yeah, I think they'll be fine with at least one of them. Did Reynolds extend? Good question. I don't know that he has yet. I know that he's willing to play ball. Adam Reynolds has basically come out and said, look, I will take a huge pay cut to stay here. I'm more than happy to do that. Massive pay cut to stay here. I mean, when you think about it, he moved his family to Brisbane. He's going to keep him here, isn't he? He doesn't want to pack him up and move him back to Sydney. So I think it makes sense for Adam Reynolds to stay, especially since they've offered him a job after his playing career. Janet says, go Raiders. Raiders with the big win here tonight. 3 tries to Ethan Strange. Who had that on their try scorer bingo? I certainly didn't. But this man, Jamal Fogarty, Ethan Strange would obviously get man of the match, but I think Jamal Fogarty probably flying under the radar in this one. Flying under the radar. Jaden, you feel like the Broncos would have won if the injuries didn't happen? Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? Because Melbourne, I still feel like Melbourne were on top. The Broncos were putting up a valiant effort. I still feel like Melbourne were on top in that game. They weren't at their best, absolutely. They definitely weren't at their best, but I do feel like they had the game in relative control. The injuries certainly didn't help. It was pretty much game over at that point. But yeah, I still think ultimately Melbourne would have got them in the end. So maybe it would have been a little bit closer. Probably would have got some more tries, that's for sure. I mean, the attack went out the window. Once you lose 2 playmakers in one sequence of play, attack pretty much goes out the window, especially when you got Reece Walsh filling in. It wasn't an ideal situation, to say the least. But the Raiders do the job here, 28 points to 12. Wasted Wilder Sports. We will be back tomorrow. What do we got happening tomorrow? we have got, I believe it's 3 games coming up. Super Saturday, Dragons versus the Sharks at Jubilee Stadium at 3 p.m. Dolphins versus the Roosters. That game has got some serious ramifications for finals time. And the Bulldogs versus the Warriors at Accor Stadium. Apparently there is rain on the radar. Does that swing the game to the Warriors? And I'm telling you, if there's even a hint of rain, which there is, the Warriors at $3.02 suddenly becomes very good value, because we've seen what the Bulldogs dish up in wet weather. And it's not been good. So we'll see. We'll see. Can the Warriors pray for rain and get the advantage there in the wet weather? We'll find out. Looking to get the job done. You think the Dogs will miss the 4? It's possible, definitely possible. I mean, the Panthers are definitely going to get in the 4 at the expense of somebody. One of those is going to drop out. It's not looking likely to be the Raiders. I can't imagine it's going to be the Storm. It's going to be either the Warriors or the Dogs that drop out and the Panthers go in. So this is actually a big, big game tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Hey, Waste of Water Sports, thank you so much for being with me here this evening. Live on YouTube, live on TikTok, live on Twitch, live on Facebook. We will be back tomorrow for a triple header of games. Looking forward to it. Catch you then. Cheers. See you tomorrow.
Welcome to the wasted world of sports, where the game's just a backdrop for drunken retorts. Rugby league or union, it's all fair play, but it's the banter that steals the show. Hey, 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 hey. Ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted world of sports, we're having a good time. Scrums and tries, they're all well and good, but we're here for the jokes and take pass less from the kickoff to the final whistle blow. We'll take the 2 and we're ready to go. Ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted world of sports, we're having a good time. We break down the plays, but it's all in jest. With the laugh and the cheer, we bring out our best. No serious analysis, no expert critiques, just a bunch of mates sharing plenty of drinks. We'll raise a roll, from sideline jokes to post-match tales, all big goofs and their big fails. We're not so serious, and that's our style. With each ahoy, we raise our skies. Ahoy, ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted world of sports, we're having a good time. So come along and join our sporting crew, where the banter's always fresh and the laughs are true. Ahoy, wasted world of sports, here's to our cheer. We'll see you on the pitch and drink some beer. Yeah!